Hey there, comic book friends! I'm Travis, and this is another edition of No Capes, where I talk about the comic books that don't have to do with superheroes and or Ethan doesn't read them or review them along with me. And there he is, because this week actually he reads all of the books, all the books except for one.
Except for one.
Right. So I figured just to change things up a little bit, so you don't hear me droning on and on about non-superhero books and how much fun they can be.
I can drone on and on about them instead.
That's right. We can listen to Ethan talk about them a whole bunch. So, we're going to start right out with issue 5 of East of West. What'd you think of East of West?
Okay, scariest person in existence, Death's wife. Death's wife is
No
terrifying.
doubt.
Shortly followed by Death, and then probably Death's son.
I don't know. I think Death's son may be more frightening than Death is.
Yeah, probably.
Death seems reasonable. He's got a plan and he's sticking to his plan. And, and if you know all the information, you know what his plan is. Hell knows what the baby's going to end up being like.
They're raising it to be the beast of the apocalypse.
Yeah. It to be the end.
It's
the end. It is the end.
Yep, that's scary.
Yeah.
Death's wife, she's scary.
With her robotic
no,
hands.
seriously though. Yeah, lots about this book. The pieces are just really starting to come together.
Well, you know what?
Scary.
Last issue had lots of excitement in it. It had lots of action. You know, this war, Death, and his two witches go in and they just trash the house of
like General
Whoa.
Tao.
Whoa. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
How?
No, I
H-A-O?
think it was How.
No? Anyway, okay, sorry.
But they go in and they
Big,
just
big battle when I'm super excited and I thought, wow, that issue was great. This
issue was just so intense.
I thought this issue was
like
a lot cooler.
Oh, dang.
Because this issue fills in a bunch of pieces for it.
Hey, there's somebody who's almost even, like, kind of close to being somewhat generally decent. That's something we haven't seen yet.
Right.
Solomon.
So in the book, what we have the situation going on where Death is basically, kicked ass on the house. His wife has taken over responsibility of the house, and therefore also she is now basically everybody's fallen in line with her. All of the Chinese continent, all of the Asian community has basically, it sounds like, a fallen in line with her. Her intentions are she's gonna go stomping off to war. Screw this, screw all that crap. I don't care what's going on. And she pretty much tells Death, I can have nothing to do with you anymore because you left me. You left me to basically get my arms blown off and basically
for our son to get killed.
And basically get raped by my own family and our son to be for war to come and execute the adult war, the prior war, to come and execute our son. I'm having nothing to do with you. Get the hell out of here. And of course, he lands the bomb with her.
Our kid's still alive.
Kid's still alive. Bum, bum, bum. Yep. Okay, and the other thing that's going on is, of course, we've got the Southern gentleman, the guy who is the mouthpiece for the South, who is the person who can go to the peace zone, and he's the liaison.
Yeah.
He's obviously worked out some sort of deal with Death because Death had showed up like in issue 2 and was going to waste him, and he came up with some whatever. But he's really riled up, ready to go, ready to watch the end of it all because he's lived a good life, and screw it, let's watch it all burn. It's kind of how he's acting. Then comes this other guy named Solomon, who was all for this whole thing until now he's seen it coming to fruition, and he's like, no, we got to pull the plug on this. This is crap. We do not need to end the world. We do not need to cause the apocalypse. Let's stop it now. And of course, the Southern guy basically laughs at him and says, hey, it ain't happening. I think the Southern guy's got something else going on.
Yeah.
He acting like, this is awesome.
I think everybody has something else going on.
Well, yeah. Everybody's got an alternative motive of some sort.
Well, yeah, but everybody, seriously serious.
Yeah. Really cool. The first 2 issues we're on issue 5 now. I'm assuming this sets us up for a first trade with these first 5 issues, I would guess, the way this one ended, because it starts the next, what the next plot line is going to be. I really think people should pick this up. If you stopped at issue 2 or 3, where a lot of people went, you made a mistake. You go find these 2 issues you can, or pick up the trade, because I tell you, it nails it on these last 2 issues. Just really makes it cool. The last panel of this thing, that full page, is just freaking cool.
Yeah.
Of Death riding off into the sunset with all the vultures above him. It looks like the wolves at his feet.
Yep.
Oh, just absolutely cool. Very excited to see what goes on. Really looking forward to this alternate Earth history.
It's a book of conspiracies, and it's going to be really cool to see which one comes out on top.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't lend much credence into these. There's lots of times there's these little sayings next to the down by the numbers there'll be these little quotes, and there's sometimes in the page these little quotes, and sometimes those quotes seem to be a little heavy-handed, and if you buy too much into that statement, and then you expect the comic to satisfy that statement, it can seem a little forced, but they've gotten better.
Yeah.
And the book is just
really awesome.
Yeah. Very, very excited. It's kind of a mix of kind of heavy metal meets
everything else.
Yeah. Western kind of a cool thing. And it's gonna be really interesting. I love one of the points, the computer. They've got a computer down talking to Death's the I don't know what you want to call him. Death's son.
Death's son. Yeah.
I mean, whatever he is, the apocalypse. I mean, because that's what he's going to be. It's the apocalypse. And it's like it's constantly asking him these questions and explaining, having to explain why, justify his answers, and it tells him, recite your favorite piece of poetry, recites this thing about whales or whatever.
What? No. Oh yes. Okay.
And the computer goes, well, who wrote that? I did. It's like, oh my god.
He recites that thing about poetry, and then there's something else that it asks him to recite. It's not poetry. I don't remember what it. I mean, it is.
Some philosophy of something. Philosophy of life or democracy or something like that.
It's like he set the world spinning, right, or something.
Yeah.
Something about how the world is spinning, right, and it would only stop if somebody stopped him.
Right.
And because nobody is, it spun on.
Right.
Right. It was like that, right?
And you're like going.
And the orb's like, who wrote that? And he's like,
I did.
Me.
And the kid's little.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid's. He's not like he's not an infant, but he's I don't know 6 or something.
Yeah.
And he's all tied in and cybered up here. We'll give you that picture. There it is. That's Death's son.
Really not fun.
And so I mean, they've got him like some sensory deprivation. I mean, they've got his eyes covered, his head covered. It's
frightening.
It's an awesome comic.
Yeah.
It's an awesome comic. Like I said, if you jumped off, get back on. If you're trade waiting, hit the trade.
Yep.
I definitely recommend it. It was a great book. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about Six Gun Gorilla, issue 3.
I also like this book.
Oh, it's just fun.
Yeah,
It's just fun. I wish there was more gorilla. That's my only complaint with it, is I wish there was more gorilla. The book really isn't about Six Gun Gorilla, it's about Blue.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Well, I am too, but...
well, I like this. It's a good book. He's there with a prostitute, right? She's all the drunk. They're like, ratings go. Like, of course.
Yes. Ratings gold, because of course they're going to get to see all this action.
Yeah, which is, but, actually, there's other stuff I want to talk about this book. I know it. I agree. I wish we saw the
zombie ninjas
a
on
little
bicycles.
bit more. But, and then, there's the freaking zombie ninjas on bicycles.
I guess that's what they are.
Freaking cool.
Yeah.
Wow, obviously the assassin guy has some mental capacity if he can control 6 ninjas effectively at
on
once.
bicycles. Who go right into the camp, just like shooting everybody to death.
Just like a grab.
Yeah.
I like the main character.
Yeah.
I do. It looks like he's starting to figure out that
there's something going on. The pocket watch started out as this kind of innocent, romantic, dying
it's just
general.
Something so much more. We have no idea what it is, but it's not.
Yeah, the military.
If they're assassinating, freaking person who just goes out there to die over that pocket watch, then obviously it must be something important.
Well, and they're scrambling. They're scrambling the signals so they don't get so the audience can't see what's happening because the situation with the pocket watch is so hot, and we don't know this. And this is issue 3 of 6.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 more issues to tie this thing up.
The sentient tumble squids, well, maybe sentient, but the bodied tumble squids, they're freaking cool looking.
Yeah. Is that what busts out at the very end there, or is that something?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because he's talking about something about sentience or whatever, right? And the tumble squids, and the gorilla goes, "Don't be so sure about that," and it pops up. So I'm pretty sure it's tumble squids that have strung themselves together enough to form a consciousness.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think. I don't know though, because all we saw there at the very end is the ninjas being out ninja'd by the tumble squids.
Right. I don't know if it's tumble squid. Whatever it was, bursting up out of the ground, like slice. And chopping all the dudes.
2 or 3 of them.
So, very cool. Yeah, very fun. There's a lot going on in it. It's not simple. But at the same time, it gives us simple things to just also I can enjoy, as of course, the gorilla vaporizes things with these big guns, and when he shoots things, they just absolutely completely disappears and whatnot. You get to see, and you definitely get to see the rebels, their plight. Or lack thereof. The fact they're just as diabolical, really, as what the supposed Earthers are. So.
Both sides are always bad in this kind of thing. They just usually are. I love him. He's like 3, 2, 1, right? And the person, because everybody ends up telling their backstories,
right?
Which is ridiculous because you think out of all the people to not tell your backstory story, you wouldn't tell to him because. But I guess if you're trying to make to make an impact, then I suppose, but
because everything he sees is being fed back to Earth.
Exactly.
They're hoping to say they don't believe that people on Earth know what's really happening, and they probably don't. They'll be spoon-fed whatever. It's that type of society, kind of a thing, kind of like now, and so I think these rebels are hoping that by telling their stories about how bad it is and about what they had and what was taken from them and whatnot, that people on Earth will go, hey, we shouldn't be fighting this fight. We should give these farmers their rights. Yay. So, great book. It's a fun book. Boom Studio book. Really enjoyed the heck out of it. So, next up we're going to talk about The True Lies of the Fabulous Killjoys, issue 3.
I love this book.
Do you get what's going on? Because there's a lot of people who are confused by the book.
Yeah.
I think there's like, 3 or 4 things running all at the same time in this, of course.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's see.
So let's start with we'll call our main character the girl and the guy who used to be a fabulous killjoy.
Right. Yeah.
So what's kind of going on there with them?
Okay. Well, the ex-fabulous killjoy, I guess, from my understanding, is something happened because the fabulous killjoys is everybody's like, they're like pretty much the only adults. They're the only adults left that weren't.
Well, they were kind of superheroes.
Yeah, they were, and then something happened. They all died. Except for him, obviously. Something killed them all, and it was so drastic that it made the last remaining one
pacifist, basically.
Yeah.
He's like, let's just be quiet and sit here and think peaceful, nice thoughts, and hopefully things will get better. And then there's the new upstarts, right? The new kids who want to be the Killjoys.
Right. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Are going to war.
I'm not sure that any of them are really the most serious ever.
Well, yeah. This is what it is. They're youth. Whether whether you can see that or not, they're the youth, and I think how I see them is they don't get it. I don't think they truly really understand what the consequences are. This is all a big party. At some point, I think it's going to go bad because they're going to attack Battery City, which is a city that's run by the corporate government, basically, and
Better Living Industries.
They send the Dracoids out and all that other horrible stuff that goes on. They have to hit their body count and all that kind of stuff. So that's going on. They're getting ready to go into the city now. That's the next thing on their list thing. And then in the city, you've got the porn bots, right?
And the blue one.
Who's the cheap one, by the way?
Yes, the
Did
cheapest.
You see that?
The
Did
cheapest.
You see the ad
at the very end, I love the fact that it's the cheapest robot and the most expensive robot.
Red.
I mean, that was cool. But yes, and the blue one has misfiled. Well, not misfiled. The blue one tried to help save her friend, but because she's outdated, she's going to be processed and turned into a satellite.
Right.
So
rendered down.
She's freaking out about that, right? And so she's trying to get more plus, which is like, I don't know.
Batteries.
I don't know what.
It's batteries.
Well, yeah, it's batteries, but I'm trying to figure out an analogy for that. But yes, it's like little tiny doses of life that don't really do anything long term.
Right.
There's something to recharge.
And she doesn't have any money, so she breaks into a machine.
Breaks into it, and then that
the garbage collectors. The garbage collectors are basically going around. Their job is to collect the broken down robots. Is what they're doing. See this violation happening. Of course, the one guy who's wearing. They're both supposed to be wearing hoods. One of the guys we've been introduced to, he's like a high end killer.
He's like the.
But for punishment, they're making him work the streets. And so he's working the streets with this other guy. He's got this guy's mask pulled down. They go after Blue because Blue's breaking in this. It's a violation. And of course they don't speak right. They speak kind of weird corporate speak. Or at least the one guy does.
And so he gets nicked. He gets nicked.
Right.
I'm not even sure if it actually hits him, but it tears his mask.
Right.
And so, yeah, seeing as what they do to other people, I'd totally be going for the lethal injection.
Yeah. But anyway, so this guy is this high-end guy who we know has this relationship on the side. It's I think relatively secret.
Yep.
shows up, basically wades past the bullets and gets up to the blue robot and tells her,
goes, "Go,
get out of here.
go."
Just grab your crap, get the hell out of here. So the robots decide they're going to make a run for it, but they know once they cross the line out of Battery City, supposedly you die. Supposedly you're off the grid and your power goes, and they just go. So they're getting ready to do that. They're mad rush.
Yep, they're gonna mad rush,
so that's where we're at right now. I'm assuming at some point here there's going to be this crashing of all the things together.
Yeah.
And the little girl, that's kind of the main character being this thing, she's like some potential messiah type person, or they treated her that way. Whether she is really significant or not, we don't know.
Well, we know that for some reason she has some super connection with the Killjoys, whether or not they thought she was the messiah, whether her riding with them happened to make everybody else think she was a messiah. Yeah. We don't really know what's going on with that. Yeah, and it looks like she's trying to catch up to the teens.
The teens that are she's thinking rebellion sounds cool about this time. So,
and then obviously the Killjoys really were like superheroes, not just super gunslingers who fought rebelliously. Seeing as the last remaining one, teaches her how to shoot. And he's pretty much
he's a zen shooter.
Exactly.
He goes into the zen state of looking at everything except for the target, and the target becomes the negative space. That's what you're going to hit. Yeah, it's zen archery.
Pretty much.
It's zen archery.
Mental telescopic vision. It's just really cool. Except on the other hand, it makes her see forward to Battery City, which obviously is bad for her and bad for everybody because Battery City is just a bad place. There's this part in the book where I really love, where they're getting ready to go off and get revenge on Battery City. They're getting ready for their actual leave, so they go there. And there's the DJ talking, who we know is crippled. Right. And blind. I think he's also blind. He looked like he was blind. And he's yes. And he's getting ready to do a show, and they're talking about the soda pop, right? They're using soda pop, to represent themselves. And as the kids are leaving already, he's talking about an eye for an eye makes the whole world go, and then they're like turn off the radio, and then the next is his card, which I can't believe I'm kicking myself for not realizing it.
Blind.
But I didn't realize that BL Industries, BL-IND, right? Blind. I was like, can't believe I did not get that until now. I mean, their motto is what you hear can't hurt you.
Right.
And it's like,
it's scary.
It is. It's terrifying in an awesome way.
Right.
So, I love the fact that after that is when the robots show up and he goes, hey, go. Because, it's like the opposite of that. He's like, oh.
Well, he's not wearing his mask.
Yeah,
these guys mask up. He can see.
Yep.
He can see.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't know about the Scarecrow. Or, I mean, we know that the Draculoid masks makes you see crazy things. But you know what? For all we know, the freaking Scarecrow one might make you too.
Right.
So, there's just lots of really cool things.
And just as a note, I do know that this book is based off of some music from My Chemical Romance. I mean, one of the writers is the lead singer of that band and whatnot. I am not familiar with the album though. I'm not familiar with the music that this comes from. I mean, I know My Chemical Romance. I mean, I've listened to their music, but I don't own this. I don't know it. So I understand that. But I mean, so far, somebody asked me the last time I did a review of this book. They basically went, so you don't know that this is off of that? And I'm like, well, I do. And I asked them, so how much does this really tie to? Are they telling me that My Chemical Romance has a concept album out that has to do with this story? Because if it's a concept album, it's not like just a song or two, and they made this whole story in their head about it, which is awesome. I can get that. I do that. I do that when I listen to music all the time. But if this is a whole concept album, like Pink Floyd has concept albums, let me know, because I'm going to go find the album and tell you what album it is. Because I want that album, because I want to listen to it. If it's one or two songs, no, I don't need to do that. Yeah. But I think the book's really cool, really interesting. And of course I love Becky
the art
Cullen's art. She's a great artist, so there we go. Awesome book.
Yep.
And finally, I'm going to talk about a book that Ethan can't read. He has big fits because I won't let him read it. I'm going to talk about Saga. And this is issue 13. Absolutely fabulous book. I think some people were I don't know what people were expecting coming off of the break from issue 12, and it was a long break, no doubt about it. But this book still has all the great stuff in it that I love about Saga. It's got all this interpersonal stuff, the quirks of the people, the quirks of the characters. The book backs up a little bit, whereas the last issue ended with this conflict between Prince Four and the writer, and you can see the family coming down the stairs while this gunfight was getting ready to happen, or it had just happened. This issue kind of backs us up. We haven't gotten to the planet yet, and then it has them landing on the planet with the writer. We get to see the aftermath of how Marco's father died, how that is affecting him. He looks withered and haggard, and, has a beard and is having a tough time with the adjustment and whatnot. We get some interaction with the mother-in-law and Alana, which I think is really good to establish, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm here to help and all this stuff. You get this great conversation as the Will is still hallucinating or something he has these conversations with the Stock. The Stock's trying to hook him up with Gwendolyn. Quick call in slave girl. That whole dialogue in there is absolutely fabulous. I just absolutely love this book. The dialogue feels so real and so rich. And it's so easy to get invested in these characters, I think. That I'd be okay if there were tons of issues like this where not tons of stuff happens, but it's just this constant interaction of what if and how are we going to, and people calling things like real people. It never feels like people are delivering lines. It feels like people are saying stuff that real people say. And it's one of the beauties of the book, I think. It's one of the beauties of the book for me anyway. There is some exciting parts in here. Alana is still my favorite female comic book character right now. Absolutely love her to pieces. Here she is. She's got a baby in one hand. She's swinging a mace in the other hand, bashing these bones that have been reanimated by bone bugs. There's some great stuff in there. The skull latches onto the mother-in-law's head, which is pretty funny and awesome. They get their first meeting with this writer who wrote this book, who basically inspired their relationship, inspired this whole craziness possibly happening. And of course, he's drunk off his ass, in a bathrobe, in his underwear, shooting a pistol crazy, because he's kind of a has-been. He's trying to meet deadlines, and he's trying to write the next great novel, and obviously having a hard time with that, so he's drinking himself away. It's great. I can't wait to see how this transpires and gets caught up to with the Prince 4 thing and see where that all is, but really, really happy to have Saga back. Already excited for the next issue to see where it goes, because it's outstanding. It's an outstanding book with outstanding art, and outstanding thought put into it to make it feel, and make you feel, really. Great stuff. Great week of books, and looking forward to getting my next batch of No Capes. What are you guys reading? Talk to you later.